Good Christ, mate.
Yep, you're live, Catherine.
Amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Wisdom Circle, which is about everything you already know. So, we have this beautiful gift as humans to actually tap into our intuition and listen to our heart and listen to our compass. But so often we have been conditioned to ignore that or let the noise outside us tune it all out. And when we actually listen to that voice inside, it has this beautiful authority that is just that non-negotiable. Here I am. Here's how I'm showing up. And this is what we're going to do. So, first of all, we are here as part of Sacred You. We have these beautiful gatherings all the time. If you're curious, you can definitely check out links below. And I am joined today by some beautiful women who have agreed to share their time with us. And I'm so grateful for that because I know we're going to go into some really interesting places because when you learn to listen to your heart and that inner knowing, then magic does start to happen in your life. Sometimes we can go through a bit of breakdowns before we get to the breakthroughs, but that is part of life. So I'm going to allow the women around the room to introduce themselves and also just share why already knowing what you're meant to know is so important in your life. So I'm going to go around in the order I can see. So Jenny Lee, welcome. And do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Catherine. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny Lee Taylor. I live in Newcastle, New South Wales, which is about 2 hours north of Sydney in Australia. And I love this topic because it's a big part of my journey, and it's also how I support the people I work with to tap into their inner knowing and really come back to who they are as people. We go through life and often we get to cover these things up, yet there's this whole piece around bringing that back out and really tapping into yourself. And I do that through breath work predominantly. I'm a breathwork practitioner and trainer. I train other practitioners, and I have a group called Women with Spirit, and we go out and find ourselves in nature, which is amazing. Thank you, Catherine.
Amazing. And yep, resonate with all of that. I love finding yourself in nature with women or just by yourself because sometimes you just get led along. And I'm going to share a story a little bit later about me being led through the forest by my guides. And Sarah, welcome. And would you like to share with everyone who you are and why you already know?
Hello. Hi, Catherine. Hello, everyone. Sarah Roccasano here. I am an author, speaker, and founder of Embolden Adventures, an encouragement platform that inspires personal, professional, and spiritual development and transformation. And Embolden Adventures used to be just a travel blog. I continue to travel the world. I've seen the world in many ways, many shapes, many sizes, and so I think that's something I knew as a child, as I knew I loved maps. I knew I loved ancient Egypt. I knew I loved the ocean. I knew I loved shells. And I knew I loved to write. And I then went into the matrix head first, did well in corporate America and on Wall Street. And then I hit a breaking point, as you said, these breakdowns, these breakthroughs. And I returned back to what I knew, my love of writing, my desire for adventure, my curiosity about the unknown, the ancient megalithic, and it's transformed me into this person I am becoming today, which is the gift I'd like to give to the world. So, in discovering what I already know, brought me full circle in the hero's journey, and I think that's a really admirable thing for each and every one of us to experience in this thing called life.
I love that, Sarah. And I love that you went for full circle. And it's funny because those things normally we were interested in as a child that we push to the side end up coming back into our life, right? And we're like, oh, that's why, for me, it was like I was so fascinated by Mother Willow and Pocahontas. And I used to say to my mum, I want to be like Pocahontas, right? And running through with the wind. And she'd be like, oh, do you know the real story? And then kind of crush my dreams. But now I'm like, no, I want to still go back and be in nature. And, because especially as a child, you already know you haven't got all the noise and everything in place yet. So thank you, Sarah. And a big welcome, Shaz. Would you like to introduce yourself and share what you already know?
Hey everyone, I'm Shazini. I'm a psychic medium, transformational life coach, and rebranding myself as Shazini the Soul Activator. I have a belief that we are souls living a human experience, and that is the message that I want to share with the world. I've been connected to my intuition and soul aspect since I was two, highly aware of it, always able to see more between this world and beyond than most people. I always thought everyone had the same gifts and everything was equal. Not really, but the way I see the world, I love it and I want more people to do it. However, I do know that every single person has intuition. It is the way you work with it, understand it, and allow it to fall into place in your life. And that's what matters. We all have this ability to communicate with our soul. We are the caretakers of our soul. We need to treat it better, love it unconditionally, see ourselves as we are, show up with the lessons and the guidance that it offers. Follow that pathway, for I believe also when you're living your soul purpose, finding your passion, that is when we create greatness, have ease, flow, and ecstasy in this world. Too many of us have restriction, trauma, or problems simply because we are not paying attention to the guidance or the GPS system that our soul offers to us.
I was like, my computer just had a glitch then. Love it. When I went to talk and everything froze, I was just emphasizing the point. We do have that inner compass. We do already know things and we do come back to ourselves. Thank you, Shaz. And a big welcome, Ashley. Would you like to introduce yourself and share what you already know?
Sure thing. Peace and love, everybody. I'm Ashley Nicole. Right now I'm in Georgia in Waleska in North America in the US. I am a health scientist. I am a business life and health coach. And I'm also the founder and natural product formulator for BeRelief.com, which is natural products that are herbal supplements and a whole bunch of other things as well. I think that I've always felt a deep truth. And I think throughout life, I have always been excited to experience and venture out to find those truths, but realizing that a lot of those answers were within. So I believe there are some truths that don't have to be taught, they simply have to be remembered. That's why today's conversation is definitely for me and for those who already know. You already know when your body is trying to get your attention. You already know when your spirit is asking you to slow down. Sometimes we spend so much time looking for answers, like I said, outside of ourselves, that we forget the wisdom we've been carrying all along. And sometimes we just have to remember that we already know the difference between fear and discernment. Hopefully, if you don't, fear feels loud and urgent, and discernment is usually quiet, peaceful, and consistent. So the challenge isn't for me hearing my intuition. Intuition is really to trust it. And so I already knew that I had intuition that I can trust. And I'm still learning to always listen versus sometimes, and also to acknowledge my higher self, lower self within as well, and finding a way to manage and have it all work together for my good. I don't really believe in right or wrong. I just believe in balance and unbalance. And so I'm just trying to have a synergy. So I think I already know that I am a powerful person. Am a powerful being. My spirit is loud, is excited, and I know that my energy can transform whatever comes my way. If it is negative, if it's positive, I just try to magnify that as much as possible. So I already know that I'm one of one.
I love that. I love that, Ashley. Thank you. And thank you for that reminder too, that we have got the power within us to alchemize things the way that we want to, and transfer and shift things how we need them to. And Joe, welcome. Please introduce your beautiful self as well as what you already know.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Yes, Joe here. I'm an emotional and energetic empowerment coach and a creator of a couple of programs. One is called Empower You, and the other one is Finding You. So mainly because of my own experiences and growing up, not really knowing myself, not really knowing which way to turn, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. So it took me many years to find that path. I now work with women, mainly business women, but all women business owners, entrepreneurs, soulpreneurs who struggle with, that part of themselves and putting themselves out there to receive. Receive is my big word for the year, and receiving what they're worth, and create that sustainable income for what they're putting out in the world. So, through that deep listening of my own journey and finding my own voice and myself, I learned to know that I am worthy. I am allowed to receive the gifts that we have on offer all around us, and being guided by that. Done a lot of work over the 40 years. It's taken a while, but we get there, right? It doesn't matter about the time. It matters about the actual doing of what we need to do to find our path, our truth, so we can thrive as women in the world and achieve amazing things. So excited to be here and have this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And yeah, thank you. We all have our own stories, right? Which helps us know what we know now. And I know personally when I left my first marriage that someone said to me, you did the best with what you knew at the time. Because sometimes we do beat ourselves up and we look back and we go, oh, I should have known better. But actually, you just knew what you were meant to know in that moment. Because if you knew any more, maybe it would have been too much. Maybe it would have been too triggering, too emotional, and then you wouldn't have been able to do what you had to do to get to where you needed to be. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Catherine Crestani. I am from just south of Sydney in Australia, and I am freezing today, and that is okay. And I am an inner authority guide and a author and speaker on human potential and conscious leadership, which is a fancy way of me saying that I help people connect back with themselves, their spiritual gifts, their purpose, why they're here in this world. Because unlike Shaz, who remembered from two, a lot of us forget, and we have to go through an unveiling and we have to come back to our heart. And what I found a lot working with clients is that we put up so many walls of protection and safety around our heart that we can become really disconnected from who we need to be, and who we want to be, and who we choose to be. Because so often we get sucked into the paradigm of our expectations from others and what everyone else wants, even though our heart is screaming, no, 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 no. And even when if you don't move fast enough, I know everyone here surely has a story about the universe kicking their backside to get back to their compass and get back to their heart. I was sharing just before we started recording, this Mercury retrograde has been very triggering for me. But one of the things that happened was my phone, which has my work phone, had a touch screen. I dropped it and it completely stopped working. I couldn't get in the phone. I couldn't do anything. And I lost every single one of my contacts, which was my old life of my old speech pathology clients. So I actually lost all of them. The ones that I needed to get in contact with, I still had their numbers. But for me, that was just honoring that inner knowing that I knew I wasn't going to go back there. But the universe almost went, we're just going to make sure that you know that, because sometimes you ask for a sign that you're definitely on the right track. And I felt that was the feedback that I got. So I would love to hear from all these beautiful women here. You can unmute yourself or you can put your hand, I don't mind. We're not in a classroom. You can just unmute yourself. Where was the moment in time where you started to doubt your intuition and almost the universe came in and supported you to get back to your compass and listening to that heart?
I don't. Hi, Catherine. It's Jenny.
Hey, Jenny.
Yeah. So I don't. There was a big moment in time that definitely was my turning point, and I didn't really know it was my intuition that was sort of giving me the kick up the backside, because I'd been so long, so disconnected from who I was that I just was doing the whole corporate thing and on the wheel and that kind of thing. What really kicked me was just having an innate knowing, if you like, that it really wasn't working for me. And at a soul level, I just needed to do something different. And if I didn't stop, then it was kind of like I would just almost stomp on I may as well take my own soul out and stomp on it and just say, this is the lot I have in life. So I did that. When that happened, it was a real wake up and I went into this state of just surrendering, really coming back to a state of, I don't know anything anymore. Please help me. I just don't know anything. And then my knowing started waking up. So finding out what my the way I hear my intuition, and I'm clear auditory, so I get a lot of messages through the auditory and through words. Didn't even know that until then. So that was kind of the start of me waking up, and then it's been a conscious awareness of that's where I want to get back to. And I guess my father, when I was about 20, actually gave me a hint. I sat down with him after I'd been traveling for a few years, and he lived on a farm, and I was sort of, where do I go next? And Dad went, Jenny Lee, you have all the answers within you. And I just thought that was a major cop out from him at the time. It's like, what? I need the answers from you, Dad. Please help me. And he's like, Jenny Lee, you have all the answers within you. And it wasn't until that moment in time, in my 40s, 20 years later, that I realized, oh my gosh, she's right. I wish I'd taken his advice sooner. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Dad. That I love that, because sometimes we miss things too because we think it's going to come to us a certain way, the information or, whatever it might be, but it's delivered in exactly how we need to get it in the moment. Like for me, it was my phone. For Jenny Lee, it was hearing that you had all the wisdom within you already. So, those examples are so beautiful because sometimes you just have to be open to that.
So for me, I had to really feel into that one, and I sometimes need to see it to get it. And for me, it was that. And by the way, Jenny Lee, wise man, that the time in my life when I was in the deepest despair, and I didn't even realize my intuition was working, was even a part of the journey in this time. I'd just been left 6 months pregnant with my fourth child, and I just went into despair. And yeah, unbeknownst to me, my intuition was obviously working behind the scenes, or I was being guided by higher beings, angels. There was someone looking over me. The bigger bang was like 9 months after that happened, I lost my mum. So I've got a feeling she may have been behind it and helping me, or guiding me to go where I needed to go. And so it was very, very unknown for me, but I realized looking back now, I was guided. Like everything turned out exactly, better than what I could even imagined. Looking after 4 children, giving birth on my own, and all the things. And I was guided to people, books, places like the ashram, which supported that process. And Louise L. Hay, I'll talk about that a lot, and I'll talk about it the day I pass because that book showed up and it transformed my life. I was guided to read that extract on the wall every morning so I could actually get up out of bed and get the kids to school and nurse my baby. So the whole journey from there on has been guided. Did I always listen? No. And I got, an angel clout many times. But then I realized, well, if I had, then it might have been a smoother journey. So for many years, I turned it off. I was in survival. I was just, trying to make it, make it through the day, basically. But I landed work from home and all sorts of these things happened. Traveled the world with 4 children, like as a single mum. That was just like crazy, right? So I believe I was always guided, whether I was using my intuition to listen, no, not always, but I just learned to just develop that side of things along the way. And it's just been an amazing journey and why I do what I teach today. So
Thank you, Joe. And I love that example of the book arriving because that happens so often with me. Like, or you'll put something in your Amazon cart and then there has suggested books, which has nothing to do with what you put in your cart. And somehow this perfect book that you've probably been looking for is there. Or for me, I'll have weird things show up in my Spotify audiobook or my playlist. I will talk about this all the time. I had this song show up called Messages from My Future Self just before I went to record an episode with a co-host about channeling the future. So it was just, divine timing and that sort of thing. So thank you, Joe. That was beautiful. And Ashley, I know you wanted to share.
Oh, sure. I actually had a lot of moments like this. But one of the ones that stood out to me, I've always been a business owner, and entrepreneur my entire life. I've only had two jobs, and one of those jobs was working at Amazon. You just mentioned Amazon. And at this time, I already received intuition, basically like a little hint that, hey, you need to open up a hair salon. And at the time, I didn't feel like I was ready. Even though I received the word, I was already qualified because I already was a master cosmetologist. I was licensed here, and I was really thriving in that career. And something that I've learned now in higher sight is, from my experience, when the higher power gives you a vision, you are qualified when the vision is given to you. I wish I would have known that then, but I kind of talked myself out of it, and I was really unhappy. I had this job at Amazon, which was nice. I was able to work from home, and I put on some extra weight because now I'm sitting down majority of my day. And I just remember thinking, like, something isn't right here. And so I was like, you know what? Let me try to get a promotion. And I went to promotion. I was most likely to get it. However, I didn't receive it. So I took that as a sign, like, At first, I was sad about it. Oh no, woe is me. What's wrong with me? I did so much for this company. But actually, it was a blessing in disguise. It was actually preparing me for the next steps. And so, my husband one day sat me down. He's like, look, you're unhappy. Let's quit this job. And I'm like, well, what? What am I going to do? And so, I decided to do a vision board. Seems very simple, right? But I decided to be very intentional with this vision board. And my intention was, let me move forward as though it's already done. And so I decided, okay, let me plan my salon, what the interior will look like, what location it will be, what color scheme. And at the time, I mean, I maybe had $10 to my name. It wasn't that much, but I decided to plan it out. And so I kept getting intuition to keep planning, not only plan, where will you get these things from? So where will you get your chairs from? Where will you get your blow dryers from? How much is it? So I started writing all of this down. And kids you not, by the time I was done with my vision board, I was able to obtain a lease that day. And it came from resources that lined up. My mom decided she wanted to surprise me and put the down payment on. My husband said, hey, I just got a real estate deal. I'm going to pay for your whole inside to get done. All of this because I followed that intuition. Now, there were times where I didn't follow it, which became postponing that, right? Postponing that success. And also, honestly, if I can, be honest, I actually was talking down to myself, saying, you're not qualified. You're not able to do this. You by yourself? Are you serious? I was 23. How can I do this at 23? And so my intuition did lead me to a great place of success where I'm thriving now and have multiple businesses, all because I decided to let go, let go of control, right? And also letting go of my vision of how it should be done. I
Mm.
always tell people I like the goal. Now, how I get there, I can be flexible with because of that journey. And when I didn't listen to my intuition, I kind of felt like myself was smacking myself, saying, hey, girl, you're not listening. And because you're not listening, now you're delayed in some things. And I do not like delayment. So that was just one of the situations for my intuition. So I've learned. along the way.
That is such a magical story, and so many, like, I want to just say, like, I have had clients similar to you, Ashley, who have finally listened and let go, and then magic really, really happens. And I also love that you brought up that, you thought by chasing something higher in the company, even though you didn't feel fulfilled there, was how you were going to fill that gap. And I so resonate
Yeah.
with that because I just went to the next course and the next course and the next course, hoping it would fill my cup when it never did.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And I know Sarah loves talking about surrender as the only form of control. So welcome.
That's right. And I got that through my friend in Jacksonville, Florida, who I was complaining to over and over again about speed cameras. And he quoted the great Bruce Lee, surrender is control. So I was like, all right, it's a wise thing to know. So yes, I think for my example, it's similar to what Ashley is saying about career and where am I going next with my life. And so for me, it happened kind of two ways. The first time, once upon a time ago, the end of 2019, where my first book begins, my first book of the series of the transformational set I'll be writing, 100% True Story Travel Adventures. I was already going to Morocco for a bachelorette party in early 2020, and my friend Michelle asked me during Halloween weekend if I wanted to join her in the rainforest to work with ayahuasca, a very powerful plant medicine psychedelic that I had never tried before and had never had any sort of experience remotely close to it. And I said to her in jest, "Oh, yeah, if I get laid off," thinking it wasn't going to happen. And then guess what? A week later, I got laid off. Didn't expect it, didn't know it was going to be me. And so that began my 5-week adventure going from Morocco to the Amazon to Bolivia and South America parts, very remote parts of the Andes Mountains. And then I come back home to New York City 5 weeks later, completely unaware that coronavirus was about to shut everything down. So that's book one. And that book clearly changed my life. That whole story clearly changed my life. But then I went back into the Matrix. Early 2020, I got a job again in New York City, and it was a job that was a difficult one. There were multiple things that were driving me toward this, permanent surrender that I definitely decided to take in early 2022. But January 2022, I was having a moment with myself in my apartment, and I was going to give it another year because I didn't really like what was going on at this job. I could feel it, I could sense it. Like this just feels like a toxic work environment. I've seen them many times before. But you know what? I'm going to give it another year. I'm going to stick with it. And sure enough, within 20 days, I was on a conference call presenting to senior leadership about a project that my team and I have been working on for quite a while. And I'm mid-sentence talking about what we're recommending, and I get interrupted, and I'm told that my job title's going away, which is extremely inappropriate and highly dumb. And, if you want my true New York opinions, we could definitely give them to you because it was very shitty, to do it the way they did it. And I was very silent. I was steaming mad, but I was very silent. I let the awkward silence, take hold. And then I continued my sentence, continued the presentation. And then once I got off that phone, I called my manager and he said, "Yeah, he shouldn't have did that. But yeah, we've been talking about it." And that's when I decided that's it. I quit. I mean, I used some expletives, but not in front of him. I hung up the phone and I yelled in my kitchen to myself, "That's it. I quit my career. I'm done. I've had it. Enough is enough." And I had a breakdown. But that began the rest of my adventure. So, this transformational series, the first book is the Awake and Radiate part. The second book is Surrender and Adventure. And the third is Transform and Reborn. So, had the universe not, take the rug out from under me, not once, but twice, I'd probably still be
Mhm.
working in the matrix, working under fluorescent lights, answering to a boss, being miserable, realizing that this isn't working, and then continuing to push that boulder up a hill yet again. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the universe knocked me over my head and said, "Come on, let's go. Out you go."
I love that, Sarah. And yeah, if you don't listen, it will pull the rug out from under your feet, especially if you're meant to be on a different path. It's like, you know this. you already know, and you're not listening. And then they get the spiritual 4x2 and they whack you across the head. They say, pay attention right now. For me, I didn't want to let go of my company. I wanted to do both. I still wanted to have, my foot in that world of owning like a allied health company and then the foot in like the spiritual world. No, 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 no. Spirit had other ideas. My dark night of the soul was my company falling apart. And I truly didn't know like it had to happen, but I was on the floor in a breakdown the first time. So I share this story because I can't make it up. I know we create what happens, but the first what happened was in the space of a week when I'd already made the decision I need to pull back and step out of the company more, or maybe go more managerial. So in the space of a week, I had 3 staff resign. And I had an absolute breakdown. They had no idea each other was resigning, completely different reasons, completely different things behind it. And I broke down because I was like, how am I meant to pick up the slack? I'm already not okay. My health isn't okay. I miss my family. Da, 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 da. Anyway, finally get back off the floor. And then a month later, in the space of a week, another 3 staff resigned. I still hadn't replaced the first 3. Okay. I was angry. I was so angry. And I'm like yelling at the universe. And I'm like, what do you want from me? Like this is ridiculous. And so I got over that. And then a month later, in the space of a week, another 3 staff resigned. So 3 by 3. And by this point, I went, you know what? These people aren't meant to be in my life anymore. And I'm not meant to be owning this business anymore. I'm either selling it or I'm closing the doors. I'm not renewing the lease. So I knew I had given myself till May. I think it was October, November by this point. And the universe did send me a buyer and everything else that came after that. But the point was, I knew my ego would still try and hold on and have that, even though it wasn't serving me, even though it was the greatest point of my stress. It was and I used to joke with my boss when he bought the business, and I used to say to him, thank you for buying my stress. Because I didn't realize how much I was holding all of that. So that was me knowing that it needed to happen, but it's still, I wasn't listening. So of course the lessons came in my beautiful 3s, which is my life always in 3s. Shaz, you wanted to share?
Yeah, I hear you totally on that level. I have been connected to spirit since I was 2, but for me, intuition was the ability to see dead people, talk to people on other planes, go through the different realms, experience things outside of the 3D Earth reality, and communicate for everybody else but myself. When intuition truly is your soul guiding your way. I have strong beliefs that the universe will give you sign, synchronicity, sign, message, slap upside the head. Last line of defense, when you don't pay attention, it will attack your body. And because that's the one thing that we listen to. Nobody pays attention to the signs or really listens, and I'm clairaudient like Jenny Lee. And I heard it and go, yeah, I'll do it eventually. No, they would knock you down on your ass. So I had multiple diversions to try and get back on my spiritual path. The problem is I had an extremely traumatic childhood, massive life lessons that I now am grateful for. Wasn't before. But in all of that, I had massive self-doubt, lack of trust in self. Knew my intuition was right. I trusted it if it gave me a message for you. 100%. I would die on that hill. This will happen, 100%, no doubt whatsoever. Anything for me? No, can't possibly be true. Because mostly they were always good sort of messages. They were inspiring, uplifting, and things like that. Whereas everything in life taught me that hell is this existence down here. And it wasn't until the last breakdown, the loss of my first business, because I thought I was doing the right thing. I found my passion, loved what I was, listening to my soul. At the same time, it was telling me to play bigger, to change direction, slightly pivot, do it the way they wanted. So like Catherine, I lost my business. I had to walk away from that. At that stage, I turned around and said to the universe, no, I'm not doing this. No, hell no. I'm not doing it again. I'm sick of starting from nothing, building myself up, creating something beautiful for you to smash it to smithereens and really take everything away. But throughout that journey and throughout that healing aspect, I discovered coaching and some beautiful things. And one of the clear messages that came to me like a bolt out of the blue and changed my whole perspective on life was a beautiful coach called Lisa Nichols. And she said the words, "You are your own rescue." And that was the final moment that there's no one coming to save you. The only person that can do this is you. So I screamed at the universe, railed to God, the soul, or whoever we want to call it, and said, well, I've screwed up my life so far. Unless you tell me to do something, I'll do whatever you tell me. But if you don't tell me, I don't do nothing. And that's the surrender that I created in this universe, is I handed over my whole existence to my higher self, to God, the universe. When it tells me to do something, I get on my little boat and I go and do it. And if it doesn't, I sit on my ass and do nothing. And it has created a beautiful world, a life that I love, a message to share with the universe. And I believe in it fundamentally. And I teach people that your soul intuition is always telling you what to do. If you don't listen to the little pivots, like the roadblocks, the red lights, the speed tickets, it will hit you with a 2x4 upside the head. Don't let the sledgehammer come. Really pay attention to that. Open yourself up. It is there for your greatest good. When you attune to it, align with it, and fully surrender and let it guide you, that's your soul, right? That's your connection to source energy, which is connected way back to God. It will give you everything you ever wanted. That's when manifestation flows, when everything works out the way you want it to. But we think we know better. I learned the hard way that no, I don't. Don't do it.
And I so resonate with you, Shaz, on so many levels where we think we know better. And even, people who know me, we've been trying to sell our house for well over a year. And the shifts that are happening, because we own land next to our house, and then we found out a few months ago the land is potentially getting rezoned. So instead of it's going to be worth triple, right? So I was like, oh, well played, spirit, well played. So then, fair enough, but we have to be patient and we have to find ways to get through this time until that shifts. We had someone finally come through and finally put an offer on our house. It was $1 million under what we wanted, $1 million. And our realtor's like, they're not going to accept that. And then he tried to strong arm us in. And then the pushback was, he kind of projected all his negative energy onto the house. And I was like, something's not right, because I was trusting my intuition. Something's not right. This doesn't feel right, because we were like, I've done a lot of work. We were having lots of calls coming through. People were really interested. Why have we got nothing again? And then I reached out to a friend and I said, hey, can you check? Because I'm not seeing something. She's like, yes, he shot all that negative energy at you, because it was, if I don't get the house, no one else can. So by trusting that intuition, we were able to clear that out. And then as soon as that was cleared, we got a phone call straight away. Hey, someone else wants to come see the house. I was like, thank you. And I was talking to the energy of the house. So anyone listening, your house has an energy, your car has an energy, and I was talking to the house, and my house is like kind of this beautiful, like little girl kind of energy. She's like, I didn't want that me, man, owning me. I was like, I know, it's okay, sweetie. Because she needed that comfort too. But if I hadn't listened to that intuition and that feeling, it would have all stayed stuck. But again, me thinking this is how it should go, and Spirit has a bigger plan. And thank you for reminding me of that, because I needed to hear that today. Because I'm like, okay, thank you. Um, and sometimes it can be really hard to trust your intuition and follow that, because I feel like a biggest thing you learn through this journey is you have to have courage. You have to have courage to say yes to you, and you have to have courage to trust that compass and follow that guidance, because so many people will push back on you. Like I know when we were talking about selling our house, my grandparents are like, but your house is beautiful. Why would you want to leave? And it's like, it is beautiful and we do love it, but it's not serving us where we need to go next, or I had a feeling about the principal at my son's old school. And I said, she is evil. I'm like, she is bad juju. I do not want my child anywhere under her influence. No, thank you. Like, I'm gonna put him out. And everyone told me I was crazy. Like everyone was like, no, she's so lovely. And then finally, and I just stood by my conviction, like, nope, I'm trusting my intuition, I'm trusting my feeling, I'm trusting the vibe I'm getting. And then 2 months later, I get a message from a parent from the classroom, and I said, "Oh, I heard you were pulling your daughter out." Yeah, and then she goes, "Oh yeah, that principal, she's evil," and blah 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 was basically everything that I was feeling. And I was like, "Thank you, universe. I appreciate the feedback because sometimes we don't get that feedback. Sometimes we just have to really trust and know that we're on the right track, even if we don't. We might get it years later, and then you go, "Oh, it finally came through." So I feel my question is, where's a moment where you had to really trust and find a way to find that courage? If for people who are listening, what is maybe some tips that you might have to share with them? If anyone, Jenny Lee, you've unmuted.
Yeah, there's just so much in what you and Shaz and everyone has been saying, but I just wanted to talk to a moment, where most of us, it sounds like we're kind of, if not on the other side, sort of in the pointy end of moving from not trusting our intuition to trusting our intuition. And I just wanted to reflect for those who maybe aren't on that path that yet, that that someone said, I think it was you, Shaz, or about the ego wanting to hang on. Maybe you, Catherine, I can't remember. The ego wanting to hang on. And I remember when I did move from corporate, and I just literally just jumped off the cliff, financial cliff, comfort zone cliff, the whole cliff, because I had to. My body was actually screaming, not just whispering at that point in time. But about 2 years later, I thought, I need a little bit more money, and I'm still thinking in the matrix terms. So I took a contract to go back to what I was doing, and I was clear this time. I thought I was getting better because instead of putting I put a fence around it. I said, okay, I'll do this for 12 months, and you people that I'm coming to work for, just know that if you don't hurry up and find someone else to replace me after 12 months, I'm gone. But I did that. Actually did that one and a bit times over the last 10 years ago. I left my corporate world, and I realized it was my sense of, it was my fear about not being safe in this world where you're actually 100% just following your intuition. And I realized I wasn't really getting that. If I did that and just surrendered, abundance would flow anyway. Now, to go from not believing that to believing that can be a big leap. And it took me quite a few years, of moving in and out, sort of this transition period I talk about, of finally going, actually, that work that I used to do, I really don't like it anymore. It was great. The thing is, when you're good at something and it's safe, then it can be really hard to move away from it, to go into I'm not sure what I'm doing, and I'm just going to surrender to the world. And once you do, I think you said it, Catherine, courage equals commitment plus doubt plus taking action anyway, and following your intuition, listening to the signs. And for me, it's still a work in progress, and I'm finding more and more, the more I listen to my intuition now, I just don't know what I don't know. And I don't know how wonderful it could be unless you kind of make those little baby steps into moving into listening to your intuition. Once you start doing that and it gets confirmed by all these little examples that everyone's talking about, it just becomes so much easier. So go for it, whoever's out there is thinking about doing it.
Yeah, and I love that you said baby steps, Jenny, because sometimes we think it has to be this grand, big gesture, right? I am one of the people that like to say I put bombs in my life. I'm like, no, stuff it. I'm leaving the company. But I get to that point because that's how I have to work. Like I'm like, nope, when I'm all in, I'm all in. But sometimes you do have to take the baby steps. It's like, oh, maybe I want to write a book. Maybe I'll just start writing a travel blog and then see how that evolves. Or, maybe I want to do a podcast. Maybe I'll just buy the microphone, maybe I'll see where I can record it. And they're the little steps to honor what's coming up, and you're doing something for you and allowing that to flow in. So thank you for bringing up that too, Jenny Lee. Ashley.
Yes, I feel like faith isn't always about having, every answer, right? Sometimes it's simply just taking the next right step, even when you can't really see the whole staircase. Like I feel like I've always or already knew the moments in my life when they were guided, and even if I didn't understand it at the time. And then also, growth doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it looks like the letting go of people, habits, or beliefs that no longer fit who I'm or you're becoming. So deep down, you already know what needs to change. But the thing that comes to mind to me is right in the height of my second business, which was a real estate investment company. In our first year, we were super successful. I mean, at this point, we're making over $250,000 in our first year, and we're really progressing higher. In that moment, I felt so successful. People around me felt like I was successful, and there's a lot of people depending on us. Had a lot of partnerships and investments, and once again, I got an intuition that you need to go. And when I heard that, I'm like, need to go where? Because I can't go anywhere. I have a lot of responsibilities. What's happening. And in one of our investment properties, me and my husband, we went to this house that was for sale. And we were thinking about taking it on. And they had a globe for sale in the garage. And I made a little joke to my husband, like, look, if you spin the globe, wherever your finger points to, that's where we're going. And I shouldn't have did that, because anytime my husband says he's going to do something, he literally does it. And so he spins it, points a finger, and it lands on Thailand. Now, at this time, I have never went outside the country, never even considered it, honestly. But then also, I didn't even think about Thailand. When I saw it on the map, I was like, oh, that's over there. I didn't even know it was there. And I just made the tough decision at the time to not only stop the successful business. So I stopped it. I got rid of my cars. I got rid of my condo. And I literally have two big suitcases. So my whole life is in these two suitcases. And we're at my mother in law's house, and I got the intuition to check for a plane ticket. Now, before this, I've been telling everyone, I'm going to Thailand, I'm going to Thailand. I have no ticket, don't know where I'm going. And so I was working out. I mean, I'm mid push up, and I'm like, I need to go check for a ticket. I get up and I find a ticket, and it was an unbelievable low cost. And I'm like, wow, we have to get this ticket. My husband throws a credit card across the room. I'm putting it in really fast, and there I go, securing that Thailand. Now it's supposed to be just 7 days, so I got a 7-day Airbnb. I ended up staying for 3 years. And to me, that was impossible. I heard all these stories. Oh, visas this, visas that. We had no trouble with our visas. Everything was just flawless our whole entire stay. And so for me, I just feel like if you have a thought, not all thoughts are supposed to be made manifest, but if you have something that is continuously showing itself to you, whether it's signs, whether it's things just lining up for you, I think those are opportunities worth exploring. And sometimes we don't know, but we know the end result. And so it's okay if you don't know what's happening and how to get there. Just have faith that you will, and you will start to see those doors opening. And so sometimes intuition, if you're not listening hard enough, it will manifest physically too. So pay attention to those signs that you see, feel, hear, and know that you are capable of anything and everything that you want.
Thank you, Ashley. What a beautiful, beautiful example. I love that so much. And I love too that you brought up, what are you asking for? Because this post popped up on Instagram for me yesterday. Actually, a friend sent it to me. It's like, if you ask for peace in your life, and then all of a sudden all these people disappear, maybe they were the ones causing the unrest in the first place, and to be grateful for that they disappeared. So, you already know what you need, but trust the universe is going to work to support you to get there. So thank you, Ashley. Joe.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. Great stories. I love it. I'm going to try and articulate this in the most easiest way, because I know we've got little time. But I just want to tag on to what Shaz was saying around trauma and success, because we can have, and Ashley, your success, amazing, and we can have the most incredible success on the outside looking in, right? But what's happening on the inside is soul destroying when you're, trusting your intuition. I mean, trust is a huge, huge area here, but also surrendering, which you're talking about here, to what's for you. But from my experience, operating from a place of trauma is a place for some of safety. They're operating from this place of safety. And that doesn't always pay off. For me, it landed me in some really bad situations whilst I was driven to succeed, to protect my family. It also put me in situations of homelessness. And, it's almost like, because you can't hold what you're capable, because you're still living from those parts of you that were you as a child, if that makes sense. And so I've always felt like I'd have all these massive wins and achievements and success, but then because I couldn't hold it, because I'm holding it from a place of, contraction rather than expansion, the surrender piece, I would always land back in hot water. So it took me a long time to really land this piece around surrendering and being safe in my body to receive what I was truly asking for, what I was going for. And yeah, I did all the things that we're told to do, but still I never felt safe, because there was a part of me that was still running that, that safety and protection mode, and receiving was hard. And this has just been a whole, journey until the last, few years, where I've really, really learned to surrender and trust so that I can receive, but also go into those parts of me that were traumatized, that were still running me at some level at the unconscious, and really dissolve those parts from there. But not always, they're always going to be there, but befriend those parts of you so that they can come along on the journey with you. So it can be really tough if you don't have the courage, the braveness that you're talking about here, to actually go deep and heal those parts of ourselves, or become one with those parts of ourselves and take them along with you. Because you're now an adult and we lead from that place.
Yeah, 100%, Joe. And I love that sometimes we do think that it's safer to stay than step out of it, because it is. We think that success looks this way, or like Jenny Lee brought up earlier, where's the money going to come from? But then we have these beautiful examples of, like, you already know it doesn't fit. So either you get told your title doesn't exist in your job anymore, or you get told you just need to go and you pack your bags and the Thailand ticket arrives. It's just, you have to have some trust and faith in yourself as well, that you do know what's happening with that. Shaz, did you want to add anything as well?
Yeah, one of the things about the art of surrender and really handing over to spirit to help you guide is, so many people are looking for certainty, and there's honestly no such thing in life. There's no certainty you're going to wake up tomorrow. Like Ashley said, one of the great aspects of it, remember the piano in Big, and you stepped on it and the light lit up? The pathway of life for me is like that. You have to take a step, that lights up, and the next pathway or step can't take until you've taken the action of the step previously. So you may have an image or a vision, and we get stuck on the how. How are we going to get there? And we try and force it and think we know all the answers, instead of allowing the flow, the guidance, the opportunities, the synchronicities, all of the beautiful universe to bring things towards us. And this is how we manifest too. It's the action taking. She booked a ticket to Thailand. The opportunity came up. Then the place to stay for a week. Then Olive got, oh, that's where I am for 3 years. Every job, everything that you take on in life, every relationship, every connection that you have, the first step is the meet and greet. You get there. You never know how that pathway could turn up. A job could last you a day. It could last you 30 years. There is absolutely no true certainty except the trust in self to know the next step is the biggest one, because small steps make those big, massive leaps. You're not going to go from here all the way up here without the minor growth and the illumination of the pathway before you. So have faith, trust, believe in self. And when you surrender, those lighted steps are the ones that stand out the most.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I think we all love that imagery too, Shaz. Thank you. Sarah.
I love, love, love this conversation because it's wise. This is truth. This is wisdom. And we've integrated it because we've had lived lives and we can speak from a place of knowing, a place of experience. And I think back, even let's say 10 plus years ago, when I was, past Sarah was constantly getting laid off. I got laid off 3 times in my 20 plus year career. The last time I decided to leave once and for all was on my choice. This finally when I took control. But every time I get laid off, I try to get back into the system. And so the system, you think, is security, but it's not. Nothing is secure. And as Chaz was saying, or Chaz was saying, the only constant in life is change and surrender and trust. These are two very important pieces of advice and not nuggets of wisdom that I can stand here today saying that is true. But old Sarah didn't believe that was true. But you have to go through that hero's journey for yourself to find that truth for you. But we're all saying it. We're saying it with conviction because we live the experience. So I hope that resonates for someone who is thinking about taking that bold step. For you, it's your passion, it's your excitement, it's your inner kind of compass that's going to drive you toward these steps that you take with the piano, like Shaz is describing. That Rumi quote, right? The way appears with every step. I always butcher the quote, but it's a beautiful quote. But that's important because you have to let life unfold for you. And it does it in such a way where your inner knowing ultimately does guide you because you're connected with your higher power, which has the binoculars from up above and can see the larger playing field. So that's why you got to trust, surrender, and believe in self. Because the external world may think you're making big mistakes. You got to drown that noise out because you know for sure that this feels right for you and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to let the world show me eventually how it's going to play out.
Amazing. Thank you,
Can
Sarah.
I just add one thing to that?
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're moving, we want to move from one place to another. It's like saying, I lost my total train of thought there. Come back to me. If we've
Okay.
got time.
Well, well, as we start to finish our time up, I want to invite everyone listening or tuning in to please go check out the links below for all these amazing ladies that have shared their time with us. If you want to know more about Sacred You and how you can be part of panels like this or even run your own wisdom circle, then please check out the links below as well. And as we start to finish up, I would love everyone to just maybe if you could tell yourself at the start of this journey, however far back you want to go, one thing about trusting what you already know, what would that be?
I can talk to that now.
Okay, perfect.
And so for me, it was asking the question, if you're really in a place where you want to make a change, not sure where it is, you don't know whether to listen to your intuition or not. What I did it when I was 50, when this happened for me, I just went, is this the way I want to be at 60? Do I still want to be living this way at 60? And the resounding, my intuitive self and my higher knowing just came back and went, no way. So then I knew that I had to make a commitment to do something differently. And that's what started me on my whole journey. So keep checking in on that. And we have free will and choice. So if the answers are yes, then by all means go ahead and stay in where you are. And if that's suiting you, that's great.
I would like to say if, in the piece around trust, if you feel it, take the leap, not let the fear not let the fear get on top of you. Just take the leap because you cannot fail. You can only learn either way. And it may be the next step to the biggest breakthrough ever.
Yeah, beautiful. Uh, Ashley?
I would say you already know that not every room feels the same. Not every conversation leaves you feeling lighter. So pay attention to what gives you life and what quietly drains it. Also, to look at your side mirror the next time you drive, where it says objects are closer than what they appear, and replace objects for whatever you are obtaining because it is closer than what it appears.
Beautiful. And Sarah, I know you are muted. Yeah.
So I started in Bolden Adventures in 2016. That's when I was in the throes of 2.5 years of unemployment. It was a very difficult, period of time, and it was very dark for me, very depressive, lots of rejection. So in Bolden Adventures was just a creative outlet for me to really share my joy and love of traveling and the stories that I've experienced throughout the world. And it helped me to use it as a business laboratory. I made an LLC out of it. I trademarked. I just was, kind of playing around with this being a business. But then I got hired and I went back to work. And I continued to stick with it when I would take, train rides to the office in New Jersey. It was a long commute. But then after a while, I got tired and I kind of left it to the side. But somewhere deep within, that Sarah back then, 10 years ago, had this vision of where Embolden Adventures could go. It was going to be this tour operating platform. I was going to write books. I was going to be a speaker. I was going to talk about my love of travel to the world. Goosebumps. And guess what? That's what Embolden Adventures is becoming. It's
Amazing.
becoming something more than I even could imagine because I decided I was going to write this book, and all of these revenue streams came as a result of it. And now I'm at the precipice of launch, and it's even better than I imagined. So that's that voice that was like very excited, very deep, tucked away, back of my mind, very quiet, like it could be this, it could be this, it would be really cool if it was this. Ah, shut up. I'm just doing it because it's keeping me busy today. But guess what, Sarah? Future Sarah is telling you it's going to be amazing. Just keep sticking with it. Just you see. And you got to let it unfold, let the magic work for you.
I love it. I love it. And Shaz?
For me, there were two major questions that I used to change my life. Gabby Bernstein wrote a book called Super Attractor, and she talked about this in the book. And the first question is, how can I be of service? This helped me look outside of myself. What can I do that can make a difference in somebody else's life today? Because when you're in a down and out place and you don't know what to do and everything looks dark, the easiest way to find what can you do for somebody else, that will just change your whole perspective, because it takes it away from what's going on around you and how can you uplift someone else, change the way they see themselves, think, or whatever. And that is usually the answer for what you're looking for. The other question is, what do I need to know today? Which is where I draw my either oracle cards or ask my questions, or what is this teaching me? What is the lesson I am learning through the struggle, the heartache, or whatever's going on? And when you look through that lens of perception, everything changes around you. The being of service, sending a message to a friend, making a post on Facebook, saying hello to a stranger, opening a door, all of those things can have massive impact without really any effort at all. And then the final piece of wisdom is just smile. Smile at a stranger, spread the love, and think good thoughts. Have positive, think positive things about people, and they will return to you in the same. When you don't know what you're doing, what is a nice thing that you can think about self or anybody else? For everything nice you see in someone else has to exist within you first.
Yeah. Beautiful reminder. Thank you, Shaz. And I love that, because I tell people just smile at strangers. Some people don't know what to do with it. It still makes me laugh when people, like, you smile at them and they're like, "Do I know you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just sharing a smile." Why not? For me,
Just a
I
quick one.
just a quick,
Sorry.
yeah,
Just a
go.
quick one on that smile. I always say smile at a stranger. It makes them wonder what you've been up to.
This, like, I have a magnet and it says dance like no one's watching. They're all looking at their phones anyway. So, but this is the beauty that we can have. And for me, I would tell my past self, like, it's okay to choose yourself. No, because when you back yourself and you choose yourself, everything else will align to that. And if you can't learn to choose yourself and put yourself first, how do you expect anyone else to respect you enough to do the same? So, I that's what I truly believe. But thank you again for all these beautiful ladies. The conversation today was so juicy and amazing. And thank you for sharing your wisdom, your insights, and your stories with such openness and vulnerability. And thank you to Sacred You. Again, as I said, check out all their links below. If you want to get involved, please go check out the village and all the tribes. I run Empowered Entrepreneurs Tribe on a Monday, Australian time, which is Sunday evening, American time. Where we actually have conversations like this around business and things like that. So please come and check us out. And thank you again for everyone for tuning in, and thank you for being a part of it. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.